morning, gang. Welcome to the P on Ice Daily Show. The best day of the week, Fitness Athlete Friday. My name is Guillermo Contreras, physical therapist, CrossFit Level 2, and on the teaching team for Fitness Athlete Division of the Institute of Clinical Excellence, coming to you on the best day of the week, Fitness Athlete Friday. Today's topic, we're going to dive right in. This is a discussion, a topic that is not as much movement-based, right? A lot of times, Fitness Athlete Friday, we talk about movement-based things. We talk about loading-based things. We talk about all those wonderful, wonderful topics. This is actually a topic having to do more with the business side of working with fitness athletes. This is something I did a long-form discussion on in Vice a few weeks back, and sometime in December. So not a few weeks, a few months back. The discussion of remote programming, using programming to allow yourselves to have more income come in for your business, for yourself as a physical therapist or a coach, and the ways you can use it, how to utilize it as best you can, and how to improve upon it. For those who aren't familiar with remote programming, what remote programming is a form of essentially coaching, personal training. You can even say it's a form of rehab or therapy where you work with individuals on a digital basis. You are working on a computer. You are sending programming or movements or techniques or mobility strategies to your clients for them to do on a daily, every other day, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, whatever you decide is the plan for your athletes or your clients. They are doing it on their own with you virtually monitoring. You're keeping them accountable, ensuring they are doing what they need to do. You are progressively loading, you're progressing their movement, their mobility, their time and attention, whatever it may be, from a remote way. So you can say it's online coaching, it's remote programming. No matter what you call it, it's what it is. It's me not being physically present with a client, but still being in charge of their movement, their exercises, their strength training, their progressions in a very, very individualized manner. It's not just a cookie cutter approach where here's a program that I send out to everybody and they just do it on their own and then they kind of come back and check in 12 weeks later. It is actual coaching that you are doing via an app such as TrueCoach or Coach RX or what is the other one? Trainerize. There's a handful of them out there. Why we do it, why I recommend it, why it's something that we do in our practice here in Milwaukee is a number of things. One, it allows me to have continued touch points with my clients. So if I'm seeing someone for physical therapy and they get past the point where they need that hands-on approach, they need kind of the generic exercise program, and they just need to get stronger, get more mobile, get more flexible, get more conditioned, whatever it may be, it allows me to continue to work with someone past the point of saying, hey, just continue to work on it on your own. Go to your CrossFit gym, continue working on it there. Many times the athletes that I see in my clinic, a lot of times they don't do CrossFit. Like that's the truth. I love working with CrossFitters, fitness athletes, but a lot of times I'm seeing general population. I'm seeing individuals who get referred by friends, by family members, and they might have just an exercise routine that they do on their own, but they want more. So it allows me to continue to work with somebody. So I will see them for a plan of care, 6, 8, 10 visits, whatever it may be. They discharge, but then they continue to stay in with me working virtually by remote programming, 2 days a week, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, whatever it is that they want to do. I work with individuals in that maybe they are working with me for physical therapy. And you can then say, I'm going to program mobility work for you. This is just a small fee on top of what we do. This is a monthly payment where I'm going to program for the next 4 weeks the progressive mobility things that you're going to be doing on a daily, weekly, bi-weekly, whatever kind of basis. And you're going to follow that. So in addition to being an additional touch point where you are continuing to maintain and build a relationship you've already started with somebody, you are now continuing to build that up over time. They see that, okay, I trusted them one-on-one in a rehab setting in the clinic, but I also trust them from a coaching perspective. I see that their knowledge is more than just reducing my pain and getting me moving better. It's now, hey, I can actually have improved performance, improved mobility. Day-to-day things continue to become easier because I continue to work with this individual. So you build that therapeutic alliance with those individuals. And lastly, I think one of the things that probably entices most people to do this and kind of dive into it a little bit more is it is a form of additional income. It is something where maybe you have an individual you see for 5 visits. And if you're in a cash pay setting, maybe you're charging 5 visits, $150 a session. That comes out to $750 total. And if that individual is doing great, fantastic, they're done, they might never see you again. That is the maximum amount of money that you will be able to bring in for that one client. But if you can take one client and take them from a $750 client and turn them into a $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 plus client over the span of 2-3 years that they work with you, paying $100 per month for programming once or twice a week, whatever it may be that you decide your rates are, right? You've now doubled, possibly even tripled the amount of income you brought in from one individual. And what we know in the business realm is it's a lot easier to retain individuals, right? Keep them in there, keep them in your network than it is to constantly try and bring in new people in all the time. That's kind of the yucky part about business people don't like to talk about, but that's the honest truth, right? How can we take a client that's going to bring in $200, $300, $400, $500 and allow that client to, again, we're not just trying to steal their money. We're not taking their money, but we're offering services that are above and beyond what they probably expect and turning that client into 2x, 3x, 4x income for my business so that I can continue to do what I do and help more individuals. So again, those are the reasons that you probably would do it, why you consider it, why you look at it. Continuing to have touch points, build that therapeutic alliance, increase the amount of revenue your company can bring in or your business can bring in, you can bring in for yourself, and then freedom of time. It doesn't take 1 hour, 2 hours like per session. You can do most programming for an individual 20 to 30 minutes a week at most. If you're kind of newer, and sometimes even less if you kind of get more experience and kind of really develop a system for progressing your clients and working well with them in that way. Me personally, I love variety. So I love the fact that in my practice, I do physical therapy, I do personal training, I do remote coaching, I do a little bit of everything. It keeps me engaged, it keeps me going, gives me a lot of different avenues to kind of really enjoy what I do. How you do it really depends on what it is you want to offer. I know individuals do remote programming, and when they do remote programming, it is 100% rehab based. It is a individualized home exercise program where they are giving them exactly what to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They are charging X amount of money, and it's not about like, hey, here are 2 exercises I want you to do. Focus on these 2 times a day, 3 times a day. It's very, very individualized. I also see it being used for mobility programming. You have an individual or you have clients from the gym who come in and they say, hey, I really struggle with the front rack. I really struggle with overhead press. I really struggle with squatting. And you can say, okay, let's get you on some programming for mobility. Now I'm going to program your mobility 2 days a week, and you're going to focus on X, Y, Z. Here's what you're going to do day 1, day 2, day 3. We're going to check in on Friday, Saturday, whatever it is. And the next week, we're going to progress all those things. And we're going to little by little every week do some different things to kind of get that mobility more so there and do some loading and some different principles to kind of get it better. So it's very individualized there. You see it as all, like full out personal training. This is what I do a lot of. I have clients who don't want to actually do personal training because maybe they travel a lot. Maybe they're just out of the country or out of the state, and they have a gym membership. They can go from place to place. Maybe they have a really nice home gym. They just don't want to go to a gym that isn't their own. They want to train from home. That is what a lot of what I do is I actually do personal training online or remote coaching where I will program for clients and they will do it on their own at home. And probably the last way that I think is probably the biggest bang for your buck, right? Because these individuals are very dedicated, are borderline kind of crazy, but they will do anything to improve their performance and keep themselves on the road or on the saddle is strength training for runners. We know more and more runners benefit significantly from strength training. Cyclists benefit significantly from strength training. So being able to be that resource to say like, hey, what does your running look like? How many days a week are you doing it? What's the mileage? Okay, on the days you're not running, on these days, this is the strength stuff that I think would be the most bang for your buck. That's going to help your run. It's going to help your cycling. It's going to help you increase your wattage, increase your strength, increase your endurance, increase your conditioning, whatever it is on the road or in the saddle that you can do in addition to all the cycling you're doing. And you can kind of gauge, monitor, and keep them accountable and continue to work with them in that way. So those are kind of the ways you can do it, right? There's multiple different ways. Really, you can design it and do it however you want. That's the beauty of it, right? There's a lot of flexibility. It can work for a lot of individuals. And again, if you want to learn more about it, like really, really see how it's done, how to do it, how to get better at it, I have these kind of last tips here for you, right? One is to get the education, right? Kind of read a lot, look at actual research, not just in physical therapy, right? Step outside of the journals in the physical therapy realm and go into strength and conditioning research, go into hypertrophy research, go into strength research, go into conditioning research, VO2 max, lactate threshold, understand how to accurately like hit them if that's what you're going for. If you're going for the hypertrophy and strength, again, there's a lot of really good articles out there. We have research in our level 1, our level 2, and our live courses for fitness athletes. And that is a really good research to say, okay, what could I be doing a little bit more of or a little bit better with as far as helping people get stronger, put on more muscle mass, get them better conditioning, and bring their mobility. So without like tooting our own horn, right, there is the level 1 course, which is online. That is coming up again. If you're interested in taking that course, that we have another cohort starting up March 24th. In there, we do go over some introductions to programming in week 8, where we go over the REMOM, how to incorporate conditioning and mobility and strength all in one therapy session. The REMOM or the EMOM is something I use a lot in my programming for clients who want a lot of efficiency with their time. We cover the squat, the deadlift, the press, the pull-up, the overhead squat, metabolic conditioning workouts. What does CrossFit look like? All of those things, if you're not familiar with it and you want to try and really get better at squatting and understanding how to program the squat, how to improve the squat, the deadlift, the press, the level 1 is the one that you're going to get that really like base foundational level of knowledge for. Once you take the level 1, the level 2 is the next progression. That one, they will have another cohort sometime late spring, early summer. The date isn't set quite yet. But there you get a very, very deep dive into a lot of programming, into programming for mobility, into regressions and modifying programming in the CrossFit realm. There's a lot that you're going to get to see in that course that's going to help you a lot in your ability to program confidently for these clients if they're fitness athletes. Even if they're not, it's still really good there. You have sources, and then lastly, the live course, right? We go over like the hands-on, the eyes-on. This is what the squat, deadlift, press, pull-up, power snatch, power clean, what these movements all look like in person, right in front of you. We go over principles of recovery and performance. We go over max out, like how to get someone understanding like, hey, what is their weight that they can maximally do, so you can progressively load them up over time in that way. A lot of really, really good educational resources in these 3 fitness athlete courses that I would highly recommend. If you're interested in taking them, you will learn a lot, especially if you want to get into the remote programming realm for your business or for yourself. If you're interested in the live course, we have a few coming up in the next couple of months. Here in March 1st and 2nd, we are in Solana. I think that's how you say it, Solana Beach, California. March 22nd and 23rd, we are in Claremore, Oklahoma, which I believe is near Oklahoma City. April 5th and 6th, we are in Windsor, Colorado. And then May 17th and 18th in Knoxville, Tennessee. So 4 different courses you can hit up all over the country, right? West, Central, Mountains, over the next 3 months that you can hit up to learn all these things, as well as our online level 1 course starting up March 24th, and the online level 2 course starting again sometime in the late spring, early summer probably. So keep your eyes open for those dates there. Lastly, if you've done the level 1, you've done the level 2, you've done the live, and you're looking for more resources and things that I would recommend based on personal experience, I have done the CrossFit level 1 and the CrossFit level 2. That has helped me a lot in understanding how to program, both from a intensity perspective and strength perspective, and seeing the variation you can do there. I've taken the level 1 to level 2 and the live course, so I knew that a lot. But honestly, the most important thing, I think the biggest thing that can make a difference for you in your ability to program for others is what ICE preaches above all else, is to be about it. We cannot program really well for others if we do not know what it feels like to train hard. If we don't know what it feels like to strength train, to perform conditioning, to work to the point of like maximal capacity, right? Do the thing, right? Play with programming. If you've never done a 5-3-1 strength cycle, do it. See what it feels like to program that for yourself and work through a couple cycles of that. If you've never done a 6-12-25 Poliquin shock method session, do that to yourself. See what that feels like. If you've never done just a small squat cycle, just to understand the sheer mental grit it takes to kind of get through that, do that for yourself. See what it feels like. Power through that and be like, okay, what I programmed this for a low level athlete or a more introductory athlete, a moderate level, higher and intermediate athlete, or a very high experienced athlete. Get an understanding of what these things feel like. Get the experience of doing them for yourself. And then once you do all those things, it becomes easier to say, okay, I'm asking this of a specific individual. I know what it feels like. I think it should feel like this. This is what I'm going to program for them. And you can go from there. So if you're interested in remote programming and you've never done it before, never heard of it before, 1, get the experience. Do it for yourself. read a lot, read the research, apply that research to your own programming, to your own training, see what it feels like to be able to do it so you know how to program for others. If you're interested in learning a lot more about remote programming on a longer form message, about a 50-minute lecture, join Vice. Next time it opens up, right, there is a Vice lecture that I just did in December that talks all about these things. Or if you're on Vice, go back to December, listen to that lecture. I go into a lot more details about the programs, the pricing, the strategies. I do examples of what it looks like for our practice, both for myself and my wife, who does more postpartum athleticism and fitness athlete type stuff as well. And then get dive into that. And then feel free, again, shoot me any questions. Feel free to get my email, shoot me an email, message me on Instagram. Happy to answer any questions on here as well. But again, gang, thank you for tuning in. Remote programming, improve a little bit of financial stuff, dip your hand in a couple different things, continue to be excited about what you're doing with fitness athletes, with weightlifters, with endurance athletes, with anybody, right? Be able to continue to work with individuals to maintain those touch points and to be able to help people beyond just the time that they see you in their clinic. Thank you so much for tuning in, gang. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you on Monday morning on the PT and I Daily Show.